We are going to talk about something that is extremely of critical import. And we could have spoken about the court cases that was going on. We could have spoken about the political scenario. But the one that is actually the most worrying to the public must be the economy. In that context, we have got here today Senior Professor H.D. Karunaratne from the University of Colombo, and specializes in business economics. And he's right here to discuss with us the revision of the immediate outlook for the Sri Lankan government by Fitch Ratings. Very good morning to you, Professor Karunaratne.
Very good morning, Faraz and others.
Thank you very much for being here. You've just come back from Australia, and we'll get straight to the point.
Yes.
The ratings, the revision of the outlook by Fitch Ratings, is that worrying?
Yeah, that's a little bit worry, but there are two sides. One is actual signals giving from the economy. The other one is the predictions. The ratings are usually based on predictions, but actual signs of the economy also very important.
Mm-hmm. And what is the impact this revision will have?
Yeah, I think the issue that we need to concern about the Sri Lankan economy, we know there are two gaps, where the external gap and the internal gap. Mm-hmm. Where the internal gap, there is a serious issue with respect to public expenditure and income. Mm-hmm. The external gap, of course, we know the receiving dollar income or foreign currency and payments of foreign currency. So both sides we are having gaps. Mm-hmm. So how do we fill these gaps are very, very important for Sri Lankan economy.
Right. Now, we, the Ministry of Finance, of course, have taken issue with this, and they say that the recent rating action by Fitch Ratings revised Sri Lanka's outlook to negative has been hastily done without considering the facts on the ground. And they say that such action is untimely and constitutes a rushed judgment or a rush towards that judgment. Do you agree? Is it too hasty?
Yeah, true, because that, you know, yesterday the Department of Census and Statistics released their the output figures,
right,
where the second quarter of 2019 growth rate was 1.8, yeah, but now it has gone up to 2.7%, right, the economic growth rate. So particularly services sector and the industrial sector growth, yeah, has increased. Only the issue is remaining with the agriculture sector.
Right.
So that therefore I think now economy is coming up after the Easter attack.
Right.
There were severe problems to the tourism sector and of course the foreign earning sectors.
Right.
With the ground scenario, we cannot say that the downgrading the Sri Lankan situation is acceptable at this moment.
Right. Will it, obviously the Sri Lanka's Ministry of Finance, they don't seem to be too concerned, because obviously they are saying that these fiscal measures that they've put in was necessary because the growth figures when President Gotabaya Rajapaksa took office, that they inherited an economy with a very poor growth rate, and that's why they had to do these things to kickstart, sure, the economy. Yeah. Is there a rationale in that?
Yeah, there is, because we know that during the last 4.5 years, the economic growth rate has decelerated continuously. Mm-hmm. When usually economic growth rate decelerate in 2 quarters, yeah, we call it economic depression, economic crisis, right, or it's coming as economic recession.
Right.
Then, of course, with the higher inflation and other thing, we call economic crisis.
Right.
So therefore, that last 4.5 years, economic growth rate has been continuously decelerated
Right.
from about 6.7% to it came about 1.8%.
Right.
So people understood that Sri Lanka has been facing economic crisis.
Right.
In an economic crisis situation, the best way, of course, is to cut the taxes.
Yeah.
When you cut the taxes, of course, macroeconomic, we know, aggregate demand will increase, particularly the consumption and the savings. Particularly when consumption decrease, we know entire economy going to be a problem. Those who produce products, they can't sell their products. That is the important thing. So when we cut down taxes, particularly on the goods and services, that will lead to increase the tourism industry or the small businesses. They also can perform very well than the higher taxes.
Right.
Because 25% income tax has been very high in Sri Lanka when you compare with the other countries. So that actually we can't rely on only taxes when we are in economic crisis.
Right.
On the other hand,
What do we have to rely on then?
yeah, we have to cut down government expenditure.
What do you mean by government expenditure?
Yeah, that we know there are two kinds of expenditure. One is recurrent expenditure.
Yeah.
The other one is capital expenditure.
Yeah.
So both sides you can see Sri Lanka has been continuously increasing government expenditure.
Right.
So one important aspect is the public sector institutions.
Right.
Loss-making institutions, we have to reform. Without reforming the loss-making public sector institutions, we can't reduce the public sector.
Right.
So that particularly if we take why these industries are loss-making, these firms are loss-making because of high salary given to the top people and recruiting more and more people to those areas, particularly you know the areas. Then the issue is that their performance, productivity, targets, management styles, everything should be rearranged. If we are not reforming the loss-making public sector organizations, the government expenditure will continuously increase.
I see.
The other side that we should not start a program, there are the more subsidies given and more government funds are used unnecessarily. One important aspect we saw that continuously statistics show that Sri Lankan poverty rates has gone down.
Right.
But meanwhile, we were attempted to increase that particularly the Samurdhi benefits to other people. So I think particularly election targeted policies should not be implemented in government sector.